Hello, everyone in YouTube and in Zoom meeting. Welcome back. This is the 5th day of Craft International Animation Festival and the 3rd day of Meet the Filmmakers session. This is actually the last session of Meet the Filmmakers, so I'm very happy to welcome filmmakers of the deceased, Karen and Avishai. Welcome, Karen and Avishai, joining us from Israel. And also we have filmmakers of Unraveled. We have Arden Kohli here and Asil Atai. Hi, Asil and Arden.
Hi.
Okay, thank you very much, all filmmakers, for joining us today. We are going to talk about your film, who are selected in Craft Animfest 2021 in Program International Competition 5. So audience, if you, ideally, you will come here if you already watched the film, but if you haven't, you still can watch the film until tomorrow night. Tomorrow at the midnight. I'm sorry, it's the 3rd session, so it's like I'm getting okay. Yes, so their film will still be available until the midnight of the 30th of October. So watch. But of course, you need to be in the region of Southeast Asia to be able to get an access of their films. Okay, so let's begin to talk with our filmmakers. I would like to start the conversation by asking the background or the history of why did you make your film, in this case, The Deceased and Unraveled. How was the history behind it? What was inspired? What was the inspiration behind the film? So yes, tell us about that, please. Maybe started from Karen and Avishai.
Well, first of all, we wanted to make a musical. That's the first thing we knew we want to make. And because musical is like something grandiose, it's big, and we want to take something that's the exact opposite of it. And we thought death is something like that. And we could take, it happens to everyone at some point of the life. And we want to make it a celebration, some of that. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I want to take the musical, which is a genre that makes something like bigger than life, and to apply it on something that it's everyone experience.
And like we both have experience in with dealing with death, and I noticed that when you approach this issue, like you have few methods of coping with death. So we wanted our film to show that each character has its own way to cope with death and with loss. So that's another thing we want to show in the film.
Okay, there are 3 characters in the film that appear, right? What's the story behind this character? Do you have someone that you know that have the same character and then the same culture? What's the story behind each character? Because the one who are dying, he's a
prop. He's a prop, yeah. He's not really a character.
Yes. Can you tell us more about the characters that appeared in this beautiful musical? Shall I say? Yes.
I think we diagnosed 3 methods to deal with that and took it to the extreme to show it like the most bizarre and weird way that we could find. And of course, I don't think that people actually cope or act like that in real life, but because we took it to the extreme, you can actually relate or to see what is the way of people that they react to death, because even if some of us never actually had someone for like first close to us who died, we all needed to react when someone told us about death, and we don't know how to do it. So we wanted to make people who there's no wrong way to react to death, but they do it in all the wrong way that they can find.
So one of the character in it was the mother or the daughter, actually, with the red hair. She takes a very I don't know, is it a culture or not? But for us, what she does is very extreme.
Very practical.
Very extreme.
Yes, very extreme, but also at the same time, it's like a sarcastic, or I don't know how to call it in English, but yes, but it's like she's telling what's in many people thoughts when probably they know they're facing grieving, but actually they have a lot of things to do in terms of family and culture. So how did you come up with this such a complicated character, but also fun to watch? And can you tell, I think with this stop motion character, I always see there is more to the story that the filmmakers know. So can you tell us more about this lady, the reasons of her action, probably?
Yeah, so I think she's trying to get control of her life on the death of her father, and obviously she can't. It's something you can't control. You can't control death. It's the one thing you can't control. But she's trying to control everything around it, like who brings the cucumbers and who brings the chairs, and and what's the exact time that he's gonna die, and she can't really control it. And but it's.
I think there's also like a practical way that you need to put your mind on something else, so you don't think of what is actually going on. And when you do that, you don't have to cope with the death. You just postpone it to a different time.
To oppress your emotions and just go on the practical. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Karen and Avishai. We will get back to you again. And then now we go to Unravel team. Yes, Arden and Asil, tell us about why did you make this film? What was the history behind it? And why picking this story, which I find quite relatable in a way, in so many different cases. Please, who wants to answer, please?
Well, thank you for that compliment. I don't know, Sil, do you want to?
You go first, and then I continue.
Okay. Well, we were doing our thesis film at BAU, and we started working on a different story, completely different story originally. But it had been, what, 2.5 months of working on this other story, and finally Asil and Isabel come to me and Callie and are like, we don't want to do this story anymore. We don't like it. It was something we were trying for a kind of sophisticated theme, but we had gotten completely divorced from emotion and kind of that, I don't know, that relatable spark. And they were expecting a fight from us, but Kelly and I were both also like, yeah, we don't want to do it either. Thanks for saying something. And so within 2 more weeks after that, we came up with the story that unfolded in the film. It's based on an experience from my own life. My mother had to end her relationship with my grandmother, with her mother. It was toxic, emotionally abusive, and she tried to make it work for a long time until she had no other choice, and she lost friends as a result of doing that. And so she was feeling very alone in the aftermath. And so I felt my job was to hold space for her and be her champion. And, you're right to do this. She was being awful to you. I'm here for you. But I was focusing on her right to be angry, not on her right or her need to process all the other emotions that went with saying goodbye. And so the film kind of taps into the memory of that and the regret for kind of shutting that part of the process down on her. And then not knowing how to shift gears and give her that space that she needed to grieve as well as, let go.
Thank you, Andrea, for sharing that. So it's like would you call it a documentary, animated documentary, because it's based on real story? And also, I'm curious, the picnic. So now that you tell us that it's the picnic setup or the picnic event, picking up the things from the grandmother, was that really happened in the real life, or it's like just a summarize of many events?
Oh no, it's both. It was a process of what they're doing is, it's going through all the mementos, the gifts over the years, the accumulated stuff of a relationship, and figuring out what to do with it now. Because a person's not dead, but you've made a choice not to have them in your life. You need to get rid of all this stuff that has now this emotional baggage to it. And that was hard. That was hard for her. And it took months. But in the film, we just boil it down to, an afternoon of the mother going through boxes and figuring out, does her daughter want to keep any of this? Because she's not sure if she wants to keep any of it herself. And that's, it's something that she needs to do. And the daughter just doesn't get it. She thinks, why are you putting yourself through this? Just throw it away. And so there's the disconnect being illustrated through the material goods there. Asil, I don't.
Still want to edit something? Probably.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe the reason why you're joining the project, or
I loved it. Like when I was listening, I was like, yeah, it's like so nice. Yeah, I don't have anything to like add. Like, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then to my next question. Oh, before that, I want to invite the audience in the Zoom meeting and the YouTube channel to ask questions to our filmmakers. That's what we are doing now, question and answer. If you have a question, please drop in the chat section in Zoom as well as in YouTube channel. And you can also ask question in Bahasa Indonesia, and I will try my best to translate your question. Okay, now let's continue with my question. I mean the question that I prepared. So could you bring us to your production? This is probably the most question being asked during festival, but we still curious about that in terms of what technique did you use and why did you use? Why did you pick the technique and also the materials? These two films are stop motion, but using a completely different materials. And we would like to know why do you pick that? And then how many people got involved in the production, and how long did it take to finish the film that we watch now? Okay, yes, tell us about it now. Maybe Karen and Avishai first.
We did, it was like our graduation film from Betzaler here in Jerusalem. And we worked together the year before that. And we also did like a puppet movie in stop motion. And it was horrible the dolls had really heavy heads, so we will, you need to keep them in the same position, and then come back the other day, and then like they drop their head completely, and everything was like
really difficult.
It sucks so much. So we learned a lot from that production to this production. In our university, we do, the last year is dedicated to do the graduation film, and it took us about like 10 months to make this film with all the things that we learned from the previous production. And we also know that we knew that we don't want to do the film outside. Also, as a conclusion from the previous production, we wanted just one room that everything happens in it.
Yeah, what's also interesting is the music production, because it's a musical film. Can you tell us about the music production?
We had a really talented musician named Daniel Fine.
Yeah. He works in a musical theater here, and he knows what to do.
Yeah, he knows how to compose musicals. So we gave him the lyrics,
Yeah,
and we talked about the environment, how we want it to feel. But we are not musicians. We don't know exactly. So he gave us, we gave him references. He gave us back references, and it was a dialogue until we were both happy. And
yeah, so he's like the third member of our crew. Yeah.
So he created the music first, and then you created the animation.
We wrote lyrics first,
and we had a version with we just sang it without actually.
Yeah, without actually.
Without the actual music.
Yeah. Just saying it like.
Whatever comes to our head.
Yeah.
And we did sort of a storyboard out of this, and it was all, it wasn't the exact storyboard we went by, because it wasn't the real music. We just, after we knew how the music goes, we knew how to make the storyboard. But we started with this, and then when it was composed, we directed it again.
Okay, thank you, Karen and Abhishek. Now let's move to another thing. Maybe Asil want to share the production with us.
I think it started like February when we were doing our graduation movie, and the first part of the movie, it took like 2 months or 2.5 months, and then this breakdown happened, and then we moved to the original unrevolved idea. I mean, through finding the material and character and make this story, I think including the animation, it took like 2 or 3 months to make the movie. We made many tests with Arden, we tried with materials, and we went and bought some wool, and we colored those wools to find the perfect color to tell our story. And yeah, Isabel made the puppets, Arden and me, we made the sets, and Kelly was helping us by helping. Yeah, it took like 5 months to be a team and work together as a team.
I think we ended up, I just wanted to say, I think our final film, from the time we got the story that we ended up using to finishing production, I think we had 10 weeks that we did everything in, right? Because it was April that we got our story finally.
Yeah, it was end of May we submitted, or
yeah.
maybe 10 of
or the beginning of May, or
yeah, or beginning of June, 10th of June maybe.
What? No, that was we finished on the 17th of June or 14th of June. We started, I think we started shooting right at the end of April, because it took us that long to get everything built.
Is it 2020? Is it 2020?
2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, COVID has kind of made the timeline of festivals a little stretched out, but
Okay, what about the decision to use felt and also the one color? I mean, the only two color appears in your film, black, completely black, and the cream color of felt. Do you have any reason for that, or something you want to tell from
Sure.
that
Like, we
selection?
didn't want to put any element or material that doesn't serve the purpose of the movie, and we didn't want to distract the audience attention by using like different colors, because like that was the only, and like using only one color, which is like close to, a kind of a yellow, and like using a black background. We are just focusing of a dreamy scene of someone. Like, we didn't want to put any element that will interrupt the meaning of the story. We just wanted to focus the audience to the moment that she is living with her mother. So, and also like using felt, the material of the felt itself is how do you say? It's like it's a material that you can tell an emotional story. Like, not all materials like this, and felt is one of them. So we kind of like understand and felt connected to the world, and then we went for it.
It's wispy and fuzzy like memory.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Adam and Asil. Now moving on to my next question will be, what was the biggest challenge during the production? Maybe Karen and
Yeah,
Anisha
we,
first.
we had actually COVID strike in the middle of the production in March. And they closed, we worked in the academy and they closed everything. So for a really long time, we didn't know how we're going to film or where we're going to make all the set and the puppets. And it took us a lot of, I don't know, it took a lot of figuring out, like, and it took a lot of time of that production, because we usually can film more or have more time in the academy, but because of COVID, we needed to go home early and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of technical issues, like shops were closed. We couldn't buy equipment.
Yeah.
Or we need to make the patterns of the curtain of the hospital. So we wanted to do it like in the academy. We could just print it, but we had to do it like by hand with
stamps.
With stamp, yeah, one by one. Took us a day instead of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
but also stuff like we need glue, and it took us like a month and a half to get glue from a store, stuff like that.
Yes, that's very interesting, because it's the production is exactly in 2020, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh. That's like the top of the restriction. Wow.
Yeah, it was exactly the beginning. So no one knew anything yet. It was.
Yes, I'm glad you managed to finish it. Okay, what about?
We weren't sure until the last, few weeks. We weren't sure if we'll finish it.
Okay. Okay, what about? Well, the production was in 2019 for Unravel thing. So, what was the biggest challenge? It was before the pandemic, so yeah.
Yeah, nothing like what you guys experienced. Bravo, like, for getting it done. That's I can't even imagine. I don't know. So I think I'd say a combination of getting our story figured out, and then you and I fighting over artistic direction.
Yeah. Now talking about that, how is the responsibility in terms of art and then technical? How do you divide responsibility between Arden and then Asil, and then there is two others co-directors, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like when we were making our story, firstly, like four of us, we were like coming all together from 9 to 5 or 6. And for like 2 months or like, I don't know, maybe 3 months, we were always like in that room and like talking about ideas and like also fighting and like things were happening. And then like when we decided the idea, it was like floating. But before that, I think the hardest part was finding the idea, because like we were all doing our master's degree in law, and yeah, we are like four different directors coming from different countries and nationalities, and as like a stop motion animator, like most of us is like we are doing our movies or things by ourselves, and like we don't like work with like other people so much. So for us it was like four of us, we need to work all together, and if you want to make this movie, it needs to be like really like click combination of working together. So like knowing each other, trusting each other, and like it took a little bit of time, but after we made it, our movie like born kind of. As role, we how to say? I think the story is like mostly belong to Arden, her own experience and like how she feels about it. And Isabel Wiggins, our other co-director, she was responsible from the puppet making, and Arden and Isabel also made the no, Arden made the character design, right?
No, I
Yeah.
think that was well, Isabel and I guess we worked on that together.
Maybe you drew and like Isabel made the puppets, so it was like
Yeah, Isabel did. Yeah, Isabel did the puppets. I did the concept art, kind of figuring out the styling.
Yeah, and I was responsible from like the mechanism that that is inside of the puppet, that allowed ourselves to make like expression of the face. For example, we had like two different scale of puppets, like one small and like one big. And
the camera's on.
Well, we cannot see you, Asil.
you don't. Oh, sorry. Wait.
You hit the
I will show you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like this is a big scale puppet. So to be able to make those kind of like eye gestures was our like only chance to kind of like transform the feeling to the audience, because like we weren't using any like mouth or like anything. So there's a system inside of the puppet. It is connected to what was the name of that clay, like so strong?
Jumping clay.
Jumping clay. It's inside of the jumping clay.
Inside. Oh.
We were mixing two clay together. And like,
I don't remember that part. Okay, that was you guys. I just remember the jumping clay.
Anyway.
I remember having a hard time finding stores open that sold jumping clay.
Yeah, it was so hard. And that wasn't even Corona, you know, like
I know.
Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we animated all together. Yeah, animation part was fun though. Like we were just like making schedules, and we were like from like Monday to Friday, you were like, okay, you take this day, you take this day, and you were like just going and like struggling with the puppets, and like I can imagine the like battlefield air in the studio, you know, like air, like one of us going there and like giving a struggle and battle, and then we are like, okay, I finished, because like we didn't have like any extra day to have. It wasn't like testing, it wasn't for testing or anything. We were just going, doing, and finishing. It was like deadline was so close.
Yeah, no, necessity made us efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, speaking of challenge, you mentioned, Arden mentioned it was based on your personal story. How is it challenging to make a movie? How do you separate the emotional part and the production and technical part?
I don't really have a thoughtful answer to that. It was kind of automatic. Just the fact that I wrote it, I stylized it. It became, I don't know, it was long enough ago that it didn't feel volatile anymore. It didn't feel fresh. So it wasn't painful to revisit in that way. It was a complicated moment that I thought would work for the structure and duration of the film. And kind of tell the kind of story that we wanted to tell. Our director, our mentors at BAO kept trying to get us to find a specific story because we kept coming up with these, I don't know, what did Fernando call it? Like children's storybook kind of stories. We were just stringing archetypes and symbols together, and in trying to be too universal, it became meaningless. And so they were like, find a specific story. And we did. And so, we're able to capture the kind of what you relate to, the universal experience in a specific one. But yeah, it wasn't personal while we were making it. It was the project.
Okay, thank you, Arden and Lucille. What about Karen and Avishai? How did you divide the responsibility of the artistic, the technical, and everything?
We don't actually have like a clear division. Division? You say division? We work together. We work well together. We knew we work well together because we worked on the previous production, and everything is like.
We think similar. We hardly had disputes.
Yeah, we have the same sense of humor. So.
But there's few responsibility. Like I know Karen is better than me.
In designing the characters.
So she did the characters. But
Avishai did the animatic. I think that.
Partially.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Okay. So we check question from the audience.
Can I ask something?
Oh yes, please.
I just wondered how you all meet, because you are from different parts of the world.
We were doing our master degree in BAU, Design College of Barcelona, in 2018. Yeah, and in the second semester, we to finish this master, you need to make a graduation movie, and they said you can choose 4 people, and then we choose each other, and it started like this.
And we knew we wanted to work together from pretty early on. I think there's a lot of mutual respect for each other's style. We just didn't anticipate the creative differences along the way. But I think it brought us closer together in the end.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, how did you all meet? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes. Please.
Oh,
it's interesting.
Sorry?
Yeah.
We studied together. We're the same class.
But I mean, before you started working together, did you meet at school or?
Yeah, academy.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you, guys. So this is very interesting to know how people create a team, because I don't think it's easy to find a team. It's especially a team who all know what they want in artistic department or storytelling. Okay, now I'm checking. I think, yeah.
I think it's also about the intention. For example, even if it's hard to make or create a team, if you are feeling the person in front of you or in your team are trying to create with good intentions, or it can be hard to even work with them. But if there is a intention of creating the sake of the project, or if it's based on good things, I think the challenges or struggles, they transform.
Yeah.
And if it's like egoistic or like other kind of things, I think it doesn't. So in our case, it transforms.
Yes, interesting. Any of audience here who haven't found the theme, you can listen to what Asil just said. Yeah. Okay. Now, I will be asking about what interesting. So this question is especially for Karen and Avishai, because Arden and Asil was showing the puppets. There was a question 2 nights ago, which I found very interesting to ask to the stop motion filmmakers or animators. What happened with the materials? What happened with the puppets and everything? Do you keep it? Are you keeping it, or is it hard to preserve them, or are you?
We have a different point of view on that. I'm like, you need to throw everything. We just start like, let's start a new production. We don't need this anymore. We just filmed it. It's fine. And Avishai is more sentimental, so he can.
I have the puppets and some of the props. The set is huge, so it's in the trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. I don't have the real estate to keep all the.
So how huge is the puppets? I would like to imagine, when I watch the film, I would like to imagine
It's about 30 centimeters.
Yeah, it's 1 to 6.
1 to 6.
it's for the character, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think the child is 20 centimeters.
Yeah, child.
is the bigger the character is easier to be animated?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have huge heads, so it's even easier. Like
Yeah. It's easier to do expression with the face if they're bigger. But also you need to think about the materials, because you don't have a lot of money to build a huge puppet, and you also need
and
to.
a huge set. If you need to have a big puppet.
So we need to think about the material versus the animation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question was also asked by an audience the other night, which I find also interesting. Do you have who is your inspiration in terms of animation filmmaking? Who is your inspiration in terms of animation filmmaking?
Mine, like,
I think each
how
of
this
you.
started, kind of. Is it like this, like the question?
Who is meaning a person who is inspired you the most on making animation?
For me, it was like one night in my bachelor degree, I was studying visual communication design, and we needed to make a project. It was like we could use all medias and everything. And one night I was just like searching for an idea and like looking for things. And then I came to like The Maker, and I watched it. And when it finished, I said to myself, I want to make something that will make people feel like this. And then I went with that feeling, and I made my first movie, and then it just continued. So it wasn't a continuous inspiration, but it was a trigger.
Okay, very unique. What about Arden?
I can't really pinpoint the first, the earliest, but I think the closest would be not a person, but a movie. I think Nightmare Before Christmas was really transformative for me. I remember when that first came out, and just being floored. Actually, you can kind of see the parallel in the expressive eye sockets.
Yes, I was about to ask, how is it influence your works?
Well, we did, whereas they did replacement technique for Jack Skellington's eyes, just replacement heads to get the effect. We had to make ours flexible, so it was a little bit different. But I don't know, other animators, specific animators whose styles I really admire would be like Terry Gilliam, the Quay brothers, Ray Harryhausen, Jan Schwankmeyer. Yeah, I can't, there are many. Can't really name just one.
Yes, audience might have to Google some of them.
So they should, yeah.
Yes. Why not? It would be great to know more of the reference artists. What about Karen and Akshay? Do you have, not really have to be a person, really?
Yeah, we have
can
you.
be like,
Yes, it's not just animation. Also, we have influences like Life as a Zucchini.
Yeah, Life as a Zucchini.
As a reference.
French film, yeah.
And a lot of live action films, musicals we took. Also, Frozen 2 was
Frozen 2, yeah, was a big influence.
It was an influence.
Yeah.
as you create a musical, have you ever get a reaction, especially for 2 films? Have you ever get a reaction from the people in your country about your film? Because there is a lot of cultural thing involved in the film. Have you ever get any reaction ever since it's finished about how relatable it is, or?
Yeah, I think our movie is very Israeli. So I know there's like countries in the world that, like Germany doesn't like our movie. I don't know why, but they don't like it. But oh wow. Anyway, just because it's very Israeli, there's a lot of people here who connected to the movie. We had a lot of success with it here in Israel. Yeah.
But I remember we showed it to someone, I think Polish, and she didn't really even notice that it was in Hebrew. She just didn't care. It's like, oh, really? It was in Hebrew? I thought it was in English. I didn't notice because she read the subtitles and it still worked. So.
But we also kept a lot of like Jewish themes in the subtitles that we don't know that people are going to know them if they're not Jewish, like the Shiva. We don't know if people know what it is like to sit a Shiva. We don't know if people know what it is.
But his name is Chaim Tzemach. You know, it's Hebrew gag, but
yeah, it's a lot of
hard to translate. But
yeah, so we kept it like we wanted to keep it Israeli, and we wanted it to be Jewish, that people will know that it is, even if they don't understand it.
Okay. Yes, I gotta admit, I don't know what some of these things mentioned in the subtitles, but then we get the story and then we translate it in our version of culture. And I remember like, oh my goodness, these aunties and that. Things like that.
It's supposed to be, I think people will be uneasy also in Israel. It's not that it's like, oh, that's how it goes in Israel. No, it's not like that.
Okay. What about Unraveled? Have you ever get, especially maybe, have you shown this film to your family, or maybe any reaction? Because this is very, what is it? Personal.
It's very personal. Yeah. I had the kind of uncomfortable task of asking forgiveness rather than permission for using this story about a week after we got approval for it, because we were in just such a tight time crunch. I didn't really do things in the right order, but my mom was fine with it. She was happy that any part of her life could be used as inspiration, and she liked the film when I showed it to her. She cried in a good way. She thought it was very good. My other grandmother, when I showed it to her, she didn't really like it. I think she felt it cut a little bit close. But fortunately, it wasn't about her. She's safe.
Also, what I think interesting when we create, when we make film about our personal story in animation, we don't actually shoot the person. So it will make a lot easier for the people who, I don't know, maybe not people who are involved in the story, but at least in public, the public that doesn't know who they are.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, okay, okay. Question, please, audience, come on. Arden have waking up very early for you guys. Question, come on. Okay, let me check in there. Yes, I think if we don't we don't have any question from audience, it will be my last question. The question will be, what would you share your future project or your current project, not the content of it, or we just curious about what will be your next film or anything in animation related. Please, Karen and Abhishai, do you working on a new project?
We unfortunately we split our ways. I work on a few like my own stuff. Right now I'm doing in, how do you say it? Experimental animation for this festival. I don't know. Abhishai working on a
Net series.
yeah, an internet series that he is writing.
Stop motion as well.
Yeah.
It's a mockumentary about a caveman.
Documentary.
Yeah,
Interesting.
a vegetarian caveman who leaves his village after a horrible mammoth accident, and he goes to a cannibal village.
I already I already want to watch the film. I mean, yeah.
It's really the beginning of the process of making, so we probably have to wait a bit.
Yes, we look forward for that though. Also for Karen's project, maybe. Yeah. What about the team of Unravel? You guys are separated now. Which one of you stay in animation, or which one of you, no, I'm not doing it anymore?
I continue my animation career. Like those days, I'm mostly focused on fundamentals of animation, walk cycles in any kind, or like timing and spacing, those kind of like training. So like I'm not planning to make another movie soon, but I'm planning to like focus on basics and principles to like improve my skills as an animator. And yeah, we see how it goes.
Arden?
I've been on creative hiatus, I guess, since Unraveled, but I am starting to get back into it again. I have about 2.5 years of creative backlog that I want to work on. Just maybe an internet series will come out of it, but a bunch of different character ideas. There's an experimental piece that I'm planning for a augmented reality festival submission. But yeah, most things in the near future pipeline are kind of my own ideas and seeing if the internet public appreciates them. We'll see.
We look forward for that.
What's the title of?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just want to ask. What's the? Do you have the title for the caveman mockumentary?
Yeah. Yoni the Caveman.
Important.
Yoni, was it?
Yoni the Caveman.
It's like Johnny the Caveman.
Okay.
But it's not this right now.
Yeah.
I want to see
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It sounds
Okay.
amazing.
Already, yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay, that will conclude our discussion today. No more question from audience, no more question for me. I just want to say thank you very much for team of the Disease and Unravel to submit your film to Craft International Animation Festival. Your films really give a lot of colors of our festival, and our conversation tonight is very important for people to listen the next day or and then get inspired, especially for those who are in Southeast Asia. Thank you very much for being with us tonight to wake very early. And then also thank you for audience in Zoom meeting and in YouTube stream. Thank you very much. And I wish to meet all of you again in the Meet the Filmmaker sessions, hopefully in the next craft and Animfest. Thank you. Oh, by the way, can we take a group picture?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, participant, turn on your camera. Iskia, can we take group pictures?
Yes, I think everyone will join with the camera, maybe.
Okay. Audience, are you joining with your camera? If not, we're going to take a group picture with filmmakers only. Okay, count it down, Hiskia.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, and cheese. Okay, done. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sean.
for inviting.
Bye. See you
Bye.
next time.
Thank you.